is the Conservative Colonel Podcast with Harrison Daws, where one man stands against the rising tide of liberalism. This officer in the battle to preserve our nation is the Conservative Colonel.
Nothing ends here. Our hopes and our journeys continue.
And here's Harrison Daws.
Welcome back to the Conservative Colonel Podcast. I'm your host, Harrison Daws. And, wow, do I have an episode planned for y'all. What I thought was going to be an episode talking about solely what's next after Trump's victory. We'll still be talking about that. I'll be saving that for the end of the episode. So please listen to this episode in its full entirety because I think that's extremely important. But my gosh, did the news just not stop this week? We got Trump appointments. We have corruption in Jackson. Shocker. And, of course, you know, my topic I want to talk about, but, I mean, all this stuff happened so quickly. Then the new Senate leader for the Republican Party has also been named just a couple minutes for filming this or recording this episode of the Conservative Colonel Podcast, and I'm pissed about that pick. And I'll dive into all that. But yeah, so what was going to be a slow, mundane episode that you might or might not watch now has stuffed to the gills with news and some craziness. Oh my gosh. So I'm happy that you've joined me today. I'm going to try to take you through all this news and, of course, at the end again, tell you my opinion on what the conservatives need to do next after the Trump victory. So because of that, what we're talking about last and just all the crazy news, I'm asking that everybody please share this episode out. Again, I don't ask that often. I try not to abuse that. But I think this could be one of those episodes where I want as many of y'all to listen as possible, and you need to, trust me, because it's about to get crazy. So before that, though, remember you can check us out on conservativecolonel.com. We can check out our store, podcast, learn a bit more about the podcast, see my favorite episodes, and, of course, the great conservative allies. You can check us out on Spreaker, our main platform, but we're also on Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music and Audible, Castbox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Listen Notes, and Good Pods. If you want to listen to the audio, the video format of the show, you can watch on Rumble or YouTube. Which, funny enough, fun fact, I am behind on Rumble. I didn't realize that till the other day. I'm a couple episodes behind. So if you are one of the few people that watch it on Rumble, my apologies. I'll try to catch up on uploading episodes this weekend. But we are caught up on YouTube. Last week's episode is actually airing now on YouTube as I'm recording. So, you know, all is good in the world with the Conservative Colonel Podcast. We're kind of back on the track, so to speak. So, again, thank you all for your being patient. I will probably still have to leave for my Christmas break, which doesn't give me much time with y'all again. I do apologize. I hate to do it, considering that we just got back and I've been gone for so long, but it is extremely hard for me to film in the Christmas months anyway, but I will be back sometime in January instead of, February this year or March even. But we will be celebrating the 1-year anniversary of the Conservative Colonel Podcast, and we'll see what I can figure out on who to bring on for that. I'm thinking. But let's go ahead and jump straight into the news. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. So, we've talked about the Jackson mayor on here before. Jackson, Mississippi. We're going to start off with some Mississippi news since we haven't talked about Mississippi since because of the national election in a while. I always butcher the Jackson mayor's name, so I'm just going to call him Mayor to save us both the embarrassment. But he has been charged with bribery. Now, again, sadly, in today's day and world, you can't always be okay. Well, if he's being attacked, if he's being prosecuted, it means he's guilty. And I mean, of course, also innocent until proven guilty. But how do I want to put this? This is not a Trump issue where he is being attacked by the legal system. I think there's a good chance he is guilty. Again, he is innocent until proven guilty. I will be happy to say, sorry if he's proven not guilty. But I'm not going to lie to you. I pretty much think he's guilty. So the Jackson mayor, along with 2 other people, have been accused of bribery. Yeah, and it's so bad that there's talks of resignation or resigning because he's on conspiracy, federal program bribery, the use of interstate facility aids, and racketeering, honest service wire fraud, and money laundering. Yeah. If he's found guilty or enters a plea deal, he will be removed from office. Mississippi Code 21819 says whenever the mayor shall have been unable to attend to the duties of his office for a period of 60 consecutive days for anything above stated reasons, or whenever the mayor shall be incapable of making such appointment, an acting mayor shall be appointed by the council from its members, and said acting mayor shall succeed to all the rights, powers, and duties of the mayor or the then acting mayor. Now, he can stay in office until then. I don't see how this is going to go well for him. He does have a re-election coming up in 2025, which I'm not gonna lie to you. It ain't looking too good for you. I'm not gonna lie to you, big dog. It is not looking good for you. And we'll go through the charges in a second because I mean this is just too much. Yeah. So he's up for re-election in 2025. Now, of course, again, he can also run for re-election, but if he is found guilty, he will be removed from office. But with a conspiracy charge, it can carry up to 5 years in prison and a $250,000 fine and 3 years of supervised release. A bribery carries up to 10 years in prison and a $225,000 fine and 3 years of supervised release. Racketeering are using the use of interstate facilities in the aid of racketeering carries up to 20 years in prison and a $250,000 fine and 3 years of supervised release. And wire fraud carries not more than 20 years in prison and a fine of $2,500,000 and 3 years of supervised release. And money laundering carries not more than 20 years and a $500,000 fine and not more than 3 years of supervised release. So he's in a bind. And I'm getting this stuff from the Clarion Ledger and WLBT. When the Clarion Ledger, who is pretty liberal, posts this, it's bad. It's kind of like CNN being like, Joe Biden's losing his mind. That's what you can compare this to. It is the liberals attacking themselves like they normally do. My gosh. The Jackson mayor does say, this is them coming after me. I'm being attacked because I've stood up to for the people of Jackson. Or he might make it a race issue, because he is African American. So whatever he does, it's bull crap. We've been questioning your authority to lead ever since the water incidents in Jackson that we reported on. And now it's just proven to me that you were just a corrupt official. Now, again, these are my opinions. This has not been proven. He is innocent until proven guilty. I want to stress that enough because in today's world, it seems like people are guilty before they are even proven they're guilty. So I will say, we're going to keep an eye on this case here at the Conservative Colonel podcast and let you know what we think. And also know the facts so you can make your own opinion. But ain't looking too good. So I'm going to try my best to give a quick update. So again, the Jackson mayor, again, I'm not trying to pronounce his name. It's awful. So we'll call him mayor again for the return of for the majority of this episode. But also in this scandal, as Hinds County District Attorney Jody Owens and Ward 6 Councilman Aaron Banks were revealed to be 3 other alleged conspirators in the scandal that also includes former Ward 2 Councilwoman Lee, who pled guilty to bribery earlier this year. So we already got 1 corrupt politician ratting on 3 corrupt politicians. So, again, not looking good, but, you can make the argument that she's attacking them for some unknown reason. But, but the charges come from FBI agents who posed as Nashville real estate developers, worked for months on this undercover assignment, faking an interest in Jackson's long sought after Conversation Center Hotel. The city released a statement of qualifications for the project on January 31st. The agents, with the help of Owens and his associates, Miss Smith, a local insurance specialist, allegedly fraudulently bribed the Jackson mayor and Banks in an effort to win the city's hotel development, according to the indictment. They also bribed Lee, who pled guilty, of course, to the bribery in August. Smith pled guilty to the same charges for his role just over 2 weeks after the Jackson mayor, Owens, and Banks court hearing. So again, not looking good for him. Owens is facing the most federal charges, 8 in total. Hinds County's DA is mentioned in most of these indictments and is quoted thoroughly. Again, this is from the Clarion Ledger. Owens allegedly felicitated over $80,000 in bribe payments to the Jackson mayor, Lee and Banks, as well as accepting at least $125,000 in cash and the promise of future financial benefits from the undercover FBI agents. The Jackson mayor faces 5 federal charges. All of these charges center around the April trip he took with the undercover agents, Owen Smith, to, let's see here, Lauderdale for a fundraiser with private jets, a yacht, and a party at a local club. During the trip, the Jackson mayor allegedly received $50,000 in the form of 5 $10,000 checks in exchange for making a phone call directly to a city employee to shorten the hotel project's deadline to benefit the undercover FBI agents. Banks faces 4 federal charges, which center around him allegedly soliciting and accepting bribes in exchange for using his voting power as a member of the Jackson, Mississippi City Council. Blow or look at the charges they are facing. Of course, we already talked about that. Bribery. Jackson mayor, of course, on April 2nd, called a city employee, directed them to shorten the deadline to at the request of the undercover agents, then accepted $10,000 check as a campaign contribution. Banks allegedly accepted $10 cash, $10,000 cash, driver services, and employment opportunity for a family member in exchange for his services. And Owens got $50,000 in campaign contributions, and the $10,000 bribes to bank and other $10,000 bribe to Lee. Conspiracy. Let's see here. Racketeering, wire fraud. And again, we already covered all this. Money laundering. I don't think we cover money laundering. It's because he donated those that $50,000 into his campaign bank account to kind of clean it up. And the account balance is at $465.30, according to the indictment. On April, $9,500 were made payable to the mayor from his campaign account, followed by another $5,000 check on April 8th. So, yeah, he's been cleaning the money, making false statements. This is just absolutely bonkers. So, what are the penalties for this? To kind of skip to the end of the article, the Jackson mayor could face up to 70 years of imprisonments and fines up to $1.5 million. $1.5 million. Owens faces up to 90 years in federal prison and $2 million in fines. Banks potentially faces 15 years in prisons and fines up to $500,000. A trial is set for January 6th, 2025. That might be when I come back from my Christmas break, because this is just absolutely crazy. All the leaders have given no indication they plan to resign. None have made any public statement since shortly after the hearing. Wow. Ain't that just a kick in the head? So yeah, it's not looking good for him. Again, when the Clarion Ledger is posting this and in such detail, it's not looking good for you. Now, again, anything can happen. We'll be trying to follow this court case as closely as we can. I am just in shock. I mean, that's a good level of corruption. And we'll talk about corruption at the end of this episode when we talk about what's next for the Conservative Party. Or conservatives. There is no real conservative party, as we'll talk about at the end of the episode. So stay tuned if you want to know about that. But this is just absolutely crazy. I cannot believe what I am reading. I want to just see something real quick. Well, I was seeing if the Jackson mayor had a mugshot yet. We could do the same thing we did with Trump on that. Oh gosh. That's just wow in so many words. Yeah. Just so many words. I don't even know what to say. So Yeah. It seems like things are not going well in Jackson. So that covers that news. Again, I hate to say I'm not shocked. Again, innocent till proven guilty and all that, but I haven't liked the Jackson mayor for a while. I think I had a gut feeling he was super corrupt, not just one of these people that are just stupid in their office, but trying to get rich, trying to make money, trying to benefit off instead of letting the people benefit with their office. I had that gut feeling ever since the water incident in Jackson, and I pray for my Jackson, Mississippi counterparts. Hopefully, y'all elect someone better. Y'all kind of been doing this to yourself. He's failed a couple times, and y'all keep electing him. So all I got to say is wake up, Jackson, because this guy ain't it. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break and be right back after these messages. And when we get back, we're going to talk about Trump's cabinet picks and White House appointments so far. All right, welcome back to the Conservative Colonel podcast. We are going to talk about Trump's picks so far. Now, again, some of these are not confirmed. I am going off CBS News. Some of these I know have been picked from other news sources that I just didn't pull up today. CBS News is, of course, reporting on it because they actually want ratings for once. But of course, we'll start off with Trump's chief of staff picking Susan Wills. So Susan was Trump's campaign co-chair, and she will serve as his chief of staff. Of course, she will be the first woman in U.S. history to be chief of staff for the president. So I want to congratulate Miss Susie. She did an outstanding job on Trump's campaign. And I think she'll do an outstanding job as his chief of staff. She seems like one of those women that are in it for the betterment of the country. So I hope it is a very prestigious position. And I do hope she does well. So, I mean, I think she'll do good. Of course, this one's not been announced, so I'm not going to cover that. And again, I'm not going to really give my opinion on much of these. Some of these people I need to research. Some of these people I don't know much about. Again, I'm a Mississippi guy, pretty based. Graves and Sam were going to be on here, and we might talk about this a bit more with them as more of these picks come out, and talk about that in a future episode. Because I mean, I don't know. I'm okay on national politics, but you can tell I've spent the majority of my time with Mississippi politics. So some of these people I know, these people I don't, and I don't know who's been a good pick yet. There's a couple people I'm like, okay, I can see what that's a good pick, and some people I don't know. UN ambassador will be Elisa Sturfranken. I probably butchered that, but she is a New York Republican who has accepted the offer, and so she will be doing that. Of course, she helped out a lot at the Trump campaign rallies. She was vocal and a big Trump ally. So she'll probably do good. Excuse me. Early day. Or not early. Yeah, well, yeah, early day. I've been up forever. Border czar will be Tom Homan. Tom Homan has a hilarious representation. He was the acting director of ICE during Trump's first administration. And I think he is a strong advocate for stronger borders. Um, I think he'll be perfect in the role. We need to get immigration under control before we can make immigration better for all of us, the people coming and Americans. We want people to come into our country. We want you to be accepted and to be an American, but you have to do it legally. And our immigration system does need fixing, folks. I know some people just think that it's perfect. It's not. But the solution to that isn't just open door policy. So I do think this Mr. Tom will do a great job as border czar. Doesn't need Senate confirmation, so I mean he can get it done. He is a pretty good guy. I like Tom. I've seen a couple of videos of him. Again, I don't know him. I haven't studied him. He's not really a politician, but I think Trump did good with. He did good as the ICE director under Trump's administration. I think he'll do even better with this and get the immigration problem under control. So for Secretary of Defense is Pete Hegseth. Trump just announced this as the head of the Department of Defense. Again, I don't know. I'll have to look. But Trump is again doing this because he wants to get the American military back up and get use that Teddy Roosevelt thinking of talk softly and carry a big stick. So that's what Trump is wanting to do. Going through some of these more confirmed. William McGillen. will be White House counsel. Trump just thinks he's a good lawyer. I mean, it's one of those things where, I think that was Trump's personal lawyer, maybe. I don't know. Again, I would have to go back and look through everything. Department of Homeland Security will be Christina Noman. Again, Trump is picking her for more border security. Again, that's one of Trump's leading issues. That was one of the biggest issues of this election. So I'm not surprised that Trump is really trying to knock it out of the park with potential picks, or with picks to what's the term I'm looking for? With picks that will crack down on border security. Again, we'll talk about all these in their own dedicated episode when we have all these picks flourished out. But right now, I'm just kind of wanting to report to you. John Ratcliffe, who served as Director of National Intelligence under Trump's first administration, is Trump's pick to be CIA Director. Again, the CIA and the FBI have been accused of some severe corruption charges. And according to Trump, who wrote this on Truth Social, John has always been a warrior for truth and honesty with the American public. I look forward to John being the first person to serve as both the nation's highest intelligent in both of our nation's highest intelligent positions. Again, there's a lot of stuff going on with the FBI and the CIA. So I am happy that Trump has appointed this guy that will hopefully start reining in those agencies and make them realize they serve the will of the people, not themselves. Environmental Protection Agency will be headed up by Lee Zeldin. Let's see here. The U.S. ambassador to Israel, Trump announced, will be Mike Huckabee, former governor of Arkansas. Uh, he loves Israel, loves the people of Israel, and vice versa. They love him, so Trump picked him. Now, here's one I kind of wanted to talk about for a second because I think it's just fantastic. Department of Government Efficiency. Elon Musk and Vervik. I need to come up with a nickname for this chat because I do not. I cannot pronounce his name. So sorry if I've mispronounced that, butchered that, but I'm sure you all know who we're talking about. It's funny that a billionaire and an entrepreneur that was Trump's rival in the primary is the pick because this is a newly created department and they're going to take it hard on government. Let's see here. These two wonderful Americans will pave the way for this administration to dismantle government bureaucracy slash excess regulations, cut wasteful spendings, and restructure federal agencies. Trump shared in a statement, adding a quote from Musk, "This will send shockwaves through the system and anyone involved in government waste," which is a lot of people. So again, this is one of Trump's things to, let's see here. How do I want to? This is one of Trump's ways to try and combat the corruption in Washington. Again, this is yet to be established. It was announced after the election. And this is one of those departments that is designed to get rid of corruption. So, I mean, we'll see. We have way too many departments as is. We have way too many government oversight. Trump is kind of like George Washington. And the most person I compare Trump to is Andrew Jackson, but that's a whole other episode. But kind of think of him as a George Washington type Republican, where he is a nationalist. George Washington was a nationalist, even though there was no nation at the time. Yes, the United States had been founded, but we didn't think of ourselves as a nation for a long time. We were supposed to be free and independent states. But again, I'll go into a rant if I'm not careful here. So I'm not shocked that Trump is going to add another department, but it is proposed to make America fair again. And it's Trump's longevity gift to Americans. So I am looking forward to seeing this. I think it could be a very big potential thing. We'll see where it goes from. We'll probably spend an episode talking about this as well. There's going to be a lot of news coming out in recent weeks, so we will try our best to cover them and also try to celebrate our 1-year anniversary simultaneously. But that's interesting. I do want to talk about that, and maybe I'll even get Verdict's name right. And that's kind of all of Trump's announcements for right now. Again, there's a couple more that's being rumored. Of course, Robert F. Kennedy will be somewhere in this administration. I'm guessing head of Department of Health and Human Services with his whole "Make America Healthy Again" thing. But again, clarifying, I don't know that. That is purely speculation on my part. But with that, that's kind of all Trump's picks right now. Of course, as the weeks go on, we'll get more information, and we'll probably not take off as much as we did last year, where we took off like the whole month of December, but like just a week or two, because there's going to be a lot of news coming out about this administration very regularly. And what we might do is not stop, but shorten episodes where it's easier for me to record and to publish. We will see about that. I do have a mission trip in December, so there's be 1 week I for sure can't do it. But we'll see. There's just so much news going in this administration. As I said, I just figured out recently about the Department of Government Efficiency, and I kind of really want to research that. So we'll see where all this leads. Now we're going to take a couple more quick commercial breaks, and we'll be right back after this commercial break, and we're going to talk about the new Senate Republican leader replacing Mitch McConnell after this quick commercial break. Welcome back to the Conservative Colonel podcast. Oh, all right. Diving into the next bit of news. So it seems like Republicans winning couldn't help but derail everything. So the past week has been a major victory for conservatives alike and the Republican Party. Because I do make the distinction. There are conservatives and then there are Republicans. So this past week has been a major win for conservatives and Republicans alike. And it looks like the Republicans couldn't stand the fact they were winning and decided to try to shoot themselves in the foot again. We got control of the Senate. We retained control of the House. We got the presidency. We got overwhelming support. We got the popular vote. We destroyed Harris. We collected all the swing states. It looked like we were on track for a bright new future. Now, with that being said, the corruption in Washington, D.C. is still unmatched. And I want to be clear. Corruption doesn't just mean the Democrats, my fellow conservatives. Sadly, it means our Republicans as well, as Trump has deemed them rhinos, Republicans only in name. Or I don't know if Trump deemed them that, but he's the one that made it famous for me. So I said this a while ago on the last episode, I think. Trump can only do so much. Trump, sadly, because he is on his second term and unable to do 2 consecutive terms, he wasn't able to really fight corruption the way that he should have been able to because of the 2020 election, and we'll leave it at that. We all know what happened. 20 million voters don't disappear overnight. But I will say, I do think Trump will get a lot accomplished, but Trump is really just a roadblock. If you want anything lasting long, change-wise, in this country, you need to get it through Congress. And Congress is the most powerful branch. Congress is also the most corrupt branch. And you can see it here in Mississippi. You can see it at local levels. These places where a lot of people can get elected just breed corruption. And Congress is the blueprint for corruption in America. So Trump, and again, I'm not talking bad about Trump. Trump's going to do great these 4 years. He's going to give us a much necessary fix to make America great again. I am a Trump supporter. I'm not attacking Trump to my fellow conservatives listening. But he can only do so much when there's a corrupt Congress. And if you had any doubt there was a corrupt Congress, they just appointed someone or elected someone who doesn't agree with Trump as the new Republican leader in the Senate. And we'll get into him in a second. But I am on a little roll right now, so I'm going to continue. So it's sad that it seems like the Republicans hate conservatives, even though that's who their party is and supposed to be. There's two types of conservatives, in my opinion, or three types. You have national conservatives who are a bit more in favor of big government doing a lot more. More George Washington type people. Graves is an example of that. You have Jeffersonian conservatives who are more about the states' rights to govern themselves, free and independent states. That's what I am. That is the founder of the conservative movement, Thomas Jefferson, in America. And then you have rhinos who greed and corruption and power has forsaken them. Those are the three types of Republicans. The national and Jeffersonian conservatives can work together. Me and Graves see eye to eye on a lot of things. We also don't see eye to eye on a lot of things as well. Again, I'm more for the states telling the government to piss off. That's how I feel like the founders intended it. Graves is more of this, I'll say, new age Republican conservatism. Because first did come Jeffersonian. I'm not bragging, but it did. Even though you can qualify George Washington as that, George Washington really didn't start a whole movement. Thomas Jefferson did. And again, I love George Washington, big George Washington fan, but that type of conservatism didn't really take off until a bit later. That being said, George Washington did a great job. Probably the best president we've ever had. Top 3 at least. But those two conservatives can work together. Now, these rhino Republicans, we can't work with them because all they care about is keeping the status quo, keeping the corruption. And both things these other two conservative Republicans can agree on is we hate corruption. The government works for the people, not the other way around. So it seems like the rhinos have decided to take their stand. This is their new fighter to make sure that the status quo doesn't get erupted too much during Trump's 4 years. Again, we talked about this last episode. Trump needs constitutional amendments. Trump needs laws and stuff passed in Congress. Trump needs a lot of good stuff, like the Department of Government Efficiency. That has to pass through Congress to be a federal executive department. It has to be approved. Now, Trump could do it by executive order first, or not executive order, be an executive office of the president or a presidential commission, and work closely with the Office of Management and Budget. But I think Trump is going to want to get that through Congress. Now, will that get through Congress? I don't know, because again, we're talking about the corruption of Congress today. We don't have a super big lead in the House. We do apparently have a super majority in the Senate, but again, that doesn't matter, as you can see from today. So it does have me worried, I will say. This corruption. And Trump's going to do everything he can to fight it because that's Trump. Trump kind of almost had to play by their rules. He outed a lot of people, but he didn't really do that until he got out of office. He tried to uncorrupt the system, drain the swamp with working with the swamp. I think Trump is going to go a lot more scorched earth this round, with this being his last time as president, which I'm all for. I think we needed someone like that that could be like, y'all could hate me if you want to. I'm not coming back here. This is it. It's time for someone else to take up the fight for conservatism. And I think Trump will still be involved in some shape, way, or form. But he's not going to be the leader of the party or the movement anymore. What's interesting to me is going to be how scorched earth Trump goes. But again, it's a sad thing, but it's true. And that it's going to tie into next topic after this. So let me go ahead and so the Senate have elected John Thune to be the Senate Republican leader. Now, he is the definition of a rhino. Like, probably just as bad as Mitch McConnell. And I hated when all these Republicans were like, oh, well, thank you for your service, Mitch. You were so good. No, you weren't. You did nothing for the conservative movement. You've been in office almost as long as Reagan. And Reagan was the last time the conservative movement actually saw progress on the national level. That's the 1980s. Bush didn't do it. His father didn't do it. That was when the rhinos took over, right after Reagan. So bad that Bill Clinton got elected. And then it went to Bush, and then Obama, and then now it got so bad that we're at Trump now, who had to step in and save conservative ideology and wake up a lot of people who were just voting by party. So I can't thank Trump enough for that. But going back into it, yeah, John sucks. He is a rhino. He hates Trump, but yet he's expected to work with Trump. I don't understand the pick at all. Because the Senate does have a couple of good actual conservatives. You know, I don't agree with on them with everything, but Ted Cruz is right there. Right there. And he would have been a good pick. Again, I don't agree with Ted on everything. But I do realize he's not a rhino. Now, I think he sways more to the nationalist conservative than a Jeffersonian conservative. But again, that's just a small difference. I can get over that right now. What I can't get over is the fact that we put a rhino after decades of Mitch McConnell ruining the Republican Party, shooting us in the foot. When we were in power, we didn't do anything. When we were out of power, we tried to do stuff knowing that it would fail. That was the Mitch McConnell playbook. That was to make it look to the voters that, hey, look, we're doing something for the conservative movement, but you're not, because you know it's going to fail. Instead, we've replaced Mitch McConnell with a younger Mitch McConnell who hopefully will not hold this position as long as Mitch McConnell. Again, the Republican Party and conservatives just got off this massive win, this historic win, and the Republicans cannot help but shoot them in the foot. Shoot their foot and the conservative movement's foot. It blows my mind, the corruption in Washington. It blows my mind. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to get back to wrap the show with what's next for the conservative movement after this springing detail of a story. And we're going to talk about what we need to do as as not just a party, but as conservatives who are fighting to take control of our party back. We'll be right back after this break. Y'all got me fired up now, so you get fired up, Harrison. Now for the rest of this episode of the Conservative Colonel podcast. What next? Last week, and again, we might talk about this again in the future. We've talked about this a couple times on the show. Obviously, this is very important to me, this topic. Because I believe it's the only way to uncorrupt America. We must think locally and act locally. That is the battle plan. We are supposed to be free and independent states. Tim Walz just said, if Trump wants to bring his change here, he has to get through me. That's how it's supposed to be. I don't like it. I don't like Tim. I don't like that he's killing that state that he governs. But if the people want to be stupid over there, they have the right. They do. We're supposed to be free and independent states. And with that being said, there's a lot more red states than there are blue states. So if we uncorrupt the system, it's safe to say that the conservatives are what the overall people want the national government to be. So, again, what's next? We need to start getting involved in local and state elections. For me in Mississippi, that means uncorrupting the state of Mississippi. Mississippi is the most corrupt, is one of the most, not corrupt, but corrupt of character, I would say. I don't know how corrupt we are, but considering what just happened in Jackson, that even though he's a Democrat, the Republicans won't do a thing to him. Because we have a bunch of rhinos in the Mississippi Senate and House. We might be a supermajority. We might be the reddest state in the union. But Mississippi acts like we are. What's a good state to compare it to? We act like we're Virginia. We act like we're conservative sometimes, but we're really not. Actually, I like Virginia. I'm not going to throw Virginia under the bus. We're a bit more tame New York. Everybody acts conservative and wants conservative stuff, but our center, the people representing us, don't follow that. Mississippi is full of rhinos. Like there might be 10 senators that are actual conservatives in the state of Mississippi. I don't know the number of House. I only know of 2 good House members off the top of my head. And that's how bad it is, folks. If you don't recontrol your county, your city, how do you expect to uncorrupt the nation? The nation was never meant to be this powerful. It's a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Right? It's a republic. It's not a democracy. That's stupid. It's a republic. We are a republic. This is not mass rule. So let's act like one. We're all supposed to be these little republics that come together and form a strong union. But that union isn't supposed to be controlling us all. So if you want to uncorrupt the United States Congress, what do? You uncorrupt the states. That means actually caring who's running in your state elections, actually caring who's running in your local elections. If you don't bother with the small, in quotation, elections, then don't bother with the big ones. Because yes, Trump won, But as I said at the beginning of the show, if we don't give Trump any help, Trump will do a bunch of executive orders. That will change something for just 4 years. But when the next president gets in office after Trump, they can undo it, just like Joe Biden did in a day. And look at the damage Joe did in 4 years. We need something more stable than a president. President was not meant to be everlasting change. Temporary change. The will of the people. If Congress couldn't do something, the president could step up. But the president's not supposed to be the most powerful branch. That's why Trump is at best giving us release from this tyranny for 4 years. Trump is giving the conservative movement 4 years to find a way to back up his thoughts, to back up and protect the American people. By the time Trump gets out of office, we should either be starting to take over or at least making plans to take back control over our corrupt government. If we haven't, we have failed. Failed. And Trump went through a couple assassination attempts, a couple of failed assassination attempts for nothing. All that pain that man went through for us would be for nothing. It's time to stand up, Americans. It's time to think locally and act locally. It is time to take back your states, to take back your cities, take back your counties. If you really believe in the conservative movement, if you really believe in Trump, if you really believe in making America great again, you'll do this. It's not supposed to be from the national down. It's supposed to be from the state up. That is how this nation's supposed to be run. And until we realize that, we will be in the same boat again in 5 years. In the next presidential election, we will have screwed ourselves if we did not find a way to help Trump's movement last. There's a lot of you out there. Trump won the popular. People know what they want. So let's give them what they want. Conservative ideas, conservative philosophies, ending corruption, making America great again. But we can only do it together. And I beg you, share this episode out. We need as many people possible to be listening. I will try to do my part. But if we do not do this, I guarantee you everything Trump went through would be for nothing. And that would just be one of history's great tragedies. That this man went through all this torment for the past 8 years to put on his life on hold now for 12. If y'all don't step up, America will pay the price. The next generations will pay the price. So I ask that you join me at the Conservative Colonel podcast as we fight to make America great again. We might do a whole episode on this for the celebration of the Conservative Colonel podcast 1 year anniversary. I don't know yet. There's someone I would love to bring on. I don't know if he's going to be able to be on, but I would love to give it a shot. We'll see where we go from there. Again, please share this out. Thank you all for listening. Go check out the conservativecolonel.com website and make sure I see you next week. Every Thursday, we will be having a show. So make sure you tune in. Remember to check us out on Spreaker, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music, and Audible. Cashbox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Listen Notes, Good Pods. Leave a review, follow us, give us a 5-star review if you can. Really helps out the show. Thank you. God bless America. And God bless Mississippi.